Guys, we are at it again. You're welcome to Make Them Tech, where we offer you different video tutorials on React, Node, JavaScript, and so on. And today we want to bring to you the second part of our tutorial on Express, that is building a RESTful API with Node and Express. In the last tutorial we talked about how to build an API using Express. We installed Express framework and then we used it to build an API. This is an endpoint. This is a root endpoint that returns this data, and also we were able to read from a JSON file. And then today we are going to look at how we can get data from another API. In that tutorial video, I told you that you can add code your data, add coding your data, then getting data from a JSON file, and then getting data from another API, then getting data from a database. Then there is this other one I didn't make mention of. I didn't make mention of this that day, and I want to mention it now. You can get data, getting data through crawling a site. So through crawling a website. So you can also crawl a website to get data. So these are ways by which you can get your data and send back to the end. So today we want to look at how we can make a call to an endpoint and get data. So for us to be able to do that, we need to use a module, or we use an external framework. We can use the request module in Node, or better still, we can use another external library or framework like axios. We have axios. This is very good. There is another one called isomorphic fetch. That one is also very good. So but I want us to use axios. Is very good and has a very good error management stuff. So now I want to install axios. Let's go to our view, our terminal, then and then we do our npm install, then we put axios, and then we save it inside our package.json. that is going to update the record in our package.json as one of the dependencies. Now we are done. Let's go to our JSON. Yes, this is it. Now let's create an endpoint, and then we've used that to practicalize how we can get data from an API. Let's say API dot let's call it API dot get. Yes, let's just call it let's call it what should we call it? Okay, let's just call it another API. Let's just call it like that. Then request response. So I'm using an arrow function. Don't forget, an arrow function is, if you have something like this, is the same thing as saying function like this. So this is where you put your arguments, same with this. So it's the same thing. So now let's proceed. Let me clear that. So we need to load our axios as a module. Const axios is equal to require then axios. Axios. So it's better you just put an object and then put all your parameters inside, or let me say put your key and your value inside rather. Your key and value. So let's say we have method, and that is get. We want to get data from an endpoint. So let's leave this out. And in case in a situation whereby you need to send some things in your header, so you will also have to do this. Then you put, maybe for example, maybe you need to put a token, or you need to put some things in the header for that endpoint to use to validate your call. So you do that here. So since we are not putting anything in the header, then we don't need it. So I think we are okay. And then the response that comes back is going to come as a promise. So it needs to resolve. So then we put our response. So I'm using resp here because I've used res in the endpoint attending to declare. So then I can okay, so let's do console.log. Let's even see what comes back. Then .catch in case there is an error. So let's get something to take care of that. Then in case of error, console.log error. So now that's something I want us to understand so they're not confused. See, this endpoint you have here is to take care of any call that comes from anybody, maybe from the client or from another server. So that is it. But if you want to make a call, to another server, maybe to an endpoint, that is where you need axios. This one you've written, this one we have here, is to take care of get request. So any call that is coming. So now that means all what we have been writing here now is to attend to incoming calls. Now the question is, how can you make an outgoing calls? How can you call out in your code? And that is why we are using axios. So even here, say we can even call this endpoint that we have built inside our code. We can do that. So let's even try it out. What's the endpoint? What's the port? This is the port. So it's actually running on localhost. So let's do that and even see the results. HTTP localhost. Then that is 3000. We are saying users, right? Users. So now we are expecting this data here to come back as our response, and then we will console.log it in our terminal here to see how it is. Then later we'll now change it to response.json. So let's I hope we don't have any error here. This is another API. Don't forget, this is what we are having here. So let's start our server again. Index, that's yeah. So run on 3000. So let's open our Postman local host 3000. So let's fire 3000 / another API. Okay, it's loading, waiting for a response from the server. But because we are not sending anything out, so we are only console logging out the response. So we can see it now. So for us now, you can see now, this is the data. Can you see the data here? This is the data. User, then object. So now, we don't have any problem. So what we just need to do is, let's try to do our normal rest. So it means that the way to access the data that is coming back is to put .data there. So now let's do the right thing now by doing rest.json. Then we can put our response.data here. And then if there is also an error, we can also do same res.json, then error, so it will send back an error. So it's going to send back an error. And it's also possible for you to get the response here and keep it somewhere and later now send it normally as a response to this API here. So you can do that. You might just keep this in a global variable here and maybe massage it, do whatever you like with it, and then you can now use your normal res.json here to return it back to the client. So let's try out our code. Let's rerun the server. Let's go back here. So let's fire this endpoint again. Whoa, can you see? You know, this is a JSON data and that is the result. So now going forward, we can equally go to let's say let's go to another, maybe create another endpoint that we call this one users abi, or let's try and call an external API. Okay, let's say let me just write a type p code API samples. So I want a fake API. So we want to use this to test our code. So let's just use this. So we're expecting this to return a result. So for us to know if this endpoint is valid, let's go to Postman. Let's test it here. Let's see what it's going to give us. Okay, that means this endpoint is working. We can see the result here. So now let's go to our code. Let's replace it with this guy. Then we can do like this. So now let's save it. Then let's make a call. Let's shut down our server and let's restart. And then let's go back to our code, our Postman rather. Then let's fire. We have the same results. Can you see? With this, we have been able to make a call to this endpoint, and then we are getting this data back. So that is it. And then let's take for example, this is what we have just done. Let's say for example, let's say we want to create an endpoint to do something. Let's create another API for ourselves. Let's call it maybe message. So it's going to send a message to us. So let's say request response. So let me copy this axios implementation here, and then let's do it here. Let's put it here rather. So we can also use what we call base URL, because you know you might be calling different endpoints, you might be calling the same base URL but different endpoints. So we can put it like base URL, then we use our normal listing. So we'll factor that out now. So in our URL, in our axios, we can just say base URL. So we can just say base URL then plus whatever endpoint that we are calling. So let's say we are calling message here, message. And if you don't want to use this, you can use a string literal. I think I would prefer a string literal. So you put it like this, string literal. You put it like this, then you put your $sign if you are putting a variable. So you can just say base URL dash this, and then it's going to work. So then that means we are having, sorry, I made a mistake. Let's say this is the base URL, then slash, that is what message. So now let's create another endpoint. Let me open this another API. Let's just create. So you can just create another folder. Oh, sorry. Let me open with Visual Studio Code. As we have, so let's create a new file called index.js. So let's do all this implementation. So let's just create something. Okay, so we have Trace installed already. So let me just say const express is going to require express. Okay, so I think that's what we need. Then the ports. Okay, then const express, sorry, port. Okay, express. Okay, so then the ports, const port. Let's run this one on port 4000 since we are running that one on port 3000. So this one, let's call this endpoint message. Yes, then let it return, let's say something like message, let's say thank you. That's what is returning. So it will return this data like this. See, I think we are fine. I don't think there's any error. Okay, sorry, our application needs to listen on the particular port, that is port, so console.log server running on port. Okay, let me use a string literal here. On port 4000. So now let's run our server, and then we'll now call this endpoint. We'll call this endpoint, and then we see how we'll see what will come out. So now node index server running on port 4000. So let's go back to our code. Let's go and implement this. So in our code, our base URL is going to be http localhost 4000. So this is going to call that other endpoint. So this one message, then we are passing this base URL, and then we are passing this endpoint to it. So I think we are okay. Okay, so let's run our code again. So let's go to, so let's message. Let's see what we're going to have. Boom. This is the result. So this is telling you that you can build your own API, you can call your own API, you can call another person's API. You just have to understand how it works, and even you need to even gather some information around that API. Probably you need something to be able to call that API successfully. So this is a way by which we can implement this API calls from one place to the other.